Something about you makes me feel like a dangerous woman. Hey familia, Igni here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Argue, the show where I take your hot takes, your unpopular opinions, your tough questions, and I respond to them in a video like this one. Augmentation bestowal should be unbanned. Man, I don't think so. That would break everything. And I get the temptation to say something like this because Portalcraft is not very good in Unlimited right now. If you are going to unban augmentation bestowal, you at least have to ban the dog, okay? It can't, you can't have both because I think that would actually just destroy the format. Then again, Hozumi is kind of insane in the format and very annoying to deal with when they roll, so maybe we should just let it rock and see what hell we can unleash. But no, my actual take is that probably if you're gonna unban augmentation bestowal, you're gonna have to ban the dog. You can't have both of them at the same time because that's ridiculous. Formats that are longer, drawn out, are more skillful, but are actually bad for the game's health. It can be very hard for newer players to learn resource management, and honestly, they don't want to sit through games that go to almost deck out. Honestly, I kind of disagree with this statement on a couple of fronts. One, I don't think that formats that are longer drawn out are inherently more skillful. Execution-heavy lists that end the game quickly exist, and this is a hot take from me, I guess, but aggro is much harder than people give it credit for in terms of resource management. But let's stick to combo for now and not dive into that hot take. I think fast execution-heavy stuff is much more skill testing than decks that just control until deck out. And second, I don't think it's necessarily a thing where players are not interested in learning a game because of the complexity. I think that a lot of times it's almost the opposite. If you jump into a new game and you think that it's one-dimensional and there's not much to learn, and that's your first impression of it, that might not be something that you want to spend your time into long-term, honestly. But if you go into a game and you see it's very skill testing and you see that there's a lot that you can do to improve, at least for me personally, I find that more motivating. And we see this in some other games as well, where they make the effort to make it as easy as possible for people, and then people get disinterested and people end up going to the more complicated alternative. I know this is kind of a debate in fighting games, which is pretty heated, so I'm not going to touch that. But yeah, I don't know. For me personally, when I first started getting into Shadowverse, the games were much longer than they are now. And it was the depth of decision making that drew me in, honestly. Then again, I might be biased because I was coming from other card games, so maybe I already had the barrier to entry broken down from that. I think Open 6 is more fun than Take 2. OMG, Open 6 player spotted. Only I like Open 6 too, but I only use it to convert my tickets into bags. I think for me, the issue with Open 6 is that a lot of the time it just ends up feeling like you're playing worse versions of rotation decks, and that's a source of frustration for me. One thing I would love to see is Open 6, but you can use cards from any class. That would do a lot to make the game mode feel way more varied to me compared to the other offerings that are on the table, such as rotation and Take 2. That's just my opinion. But in the current state of Open 6, I disagree with the take that it's more fun than Take 2. I think Take 2 is much more fun. but if they do make Open 6 cross-craft, then you have my attention, okay? Then you have my attention. Mono is best girl. Excuse me, sir. This is Let's Argue, not Let's Agree. I mean, listen, even if you dislike Mono personally as a character somehow, you cannot deny that she has been incredible for the Shadowverse IP. I mean, just take a look at Glory Finder putting Mono in as a card. Take a look at the Shadowverse Evolve Japan Championship this year, having the three sisters in their card art as well. She's so insanely popular and so well liked. People will get product just because she's in it. So me personally, in my own opinion, yes, she's one of the best girls. I like Galmu a little more, and Zernitra, obviously. But even disregarding my own opinion, I think it's undoubtable that Mono has been a net positive for the entire IP of Shadowverse. So yeah, Mono best girl. If you did insert action X times decks like Wrath or Last Words are essentially ramp decks. They're ramp decks in essence. I mean, I get what you're trying to say. They both have you doing suboptimal actions early to then do bombastic things late, but we call those quest decks, and ramp is strictly the increasing of play points because you're ramping up, right? Like, this is why words have meaning. Hot take, Judith shouldn't have been nerfed in the first place. I mean, I kind of agree. I think certainly even if she did deserve to get nerfed initially, she should not have been nerfed for as long as she was. Like, they should have unnerfed her ages ago. I don't know why exactly it took so long. Azvaldt has the best design in terms of characters, lore, and theme. Well, I mean, Azvaldt is fantastic, but this is a pretty expected take for someone who named themselves after Kirzael. There's no denying that Azvaldt is incredible. And I even have an Azvaldt tapestry. Like, I love Azvaldt. But honestly, I think the Omens probably beat it out. Maybe I'm biased though because Anta Maria is a Humega lol and Galmu is the most iconic character ever. But I think even further than that, here's another take. Ultimate Coliseum Gladiators are better than both. Ultimate Coliseum had Kuon, Ginsetsu, Karula, Wilbert, Aragavi, who's already confirmed to be in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond as well. Kagemitsu, I mean, come on. Like, flying under the radar here low-key, Omens and Azvaldt have been duking it out, but I think Coliseum has my vote for the best one. Oh boy, this one's pretty long, it's almost covering my face. Agile Twin Blader is a completely fine card, while yes, 4 play points deal 10 face, which can be scaled twice as effectively for Rally 15, is a badonkers effect for the cost taking how the current meta is. Storm damage is a far more difficult type of damage to deal than all the other sources, which are currently available in rotation. Coach Joe, Golem Lord, Synthetic Eden, just to name a few, deal face damage on top of having extra functionality, which can't be said the same for Twin Blader. Although Rally mainly focuses on actually keeping the board clean, it simply doesn't possess enough to end the game on its own, so having a card like Twin can actually reward you for keeping up with the opponent's BS. I agree. The proof is in the pudding, right? Even with a fantastic finisher like Agile Twin Blader, Sword has not been performing the best. And yes, I have been guilty of having some salt moments when an Agile Twin Blader is played against me. I will say, just because the card is one of the best cards in the class right now doesn't mean it's on the same level as the other cards in other classes, and it certainly doesn't make it unfair. So if the metric is whether or not the card is fine or not, I would say, yeah, I think the card is fine. Definitely nerf Joe before you nerf Twin Blader. If anything, we should have gotten a full-on Uma Musume X pack instead of just a collab. I do agree with that for a couple of reasons. One, I don't know if you guys know this, but Uma Musume in otaku spheres is like a cultural force. Like, it is so massive. If Uma Musume was a big set in Shadowverse, bro, forget about Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. We would have enough money to fund Shadowverse Universes Beyond, Shadowverse Multiverses Beyond, Shadowverse 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, man. But beyond that, beyond just Uma Musume being popular, I think in general having collab sets is better than just cosmetic collabs if they can figure out the logistics behind getting that out there. Like in Shadowverse Evolve, for example, they did a collab set with Uma Musume, they did a collab set with Idolmaster, and I think it legit brought people into the game. And it's certainly better than the halfway house that we kind of got during Ultimate Coliseum, where half the set was original characters and half the set was Princess Connect, and it just confused everyone. So honestly, I agree. I think that's gonna be it from me for today. My throat is absolutely shot. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you did. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.